There we go. Hi, everyone, and welcome to TWF Friday Night Smackdown. I am Michael Cole. Michael Cole, here with Autolycus, the King of Thieves, and with Wade Barrett. And today on Friday Night Smackdown, we're going to see, well, I don't know what we're going to see here today on Friday Night Smackdown, but it's always a struck, and it's always, something. But I don't know what Michael Cole says. Well, I can tell you one thing. Autolycus said, whatever we're going to be doing here today on Friday Night Smackdown, it's bound to be good. Well, you can say that again, Michael Cole and Autolycus. I think it is bound to be good, Wade Barrett says. And now we have Mimi here. Hi, I'm Mimi. I am Mimi Sailor Moon Wayman. And, well, or only Mimi. And I know that I'm not truly a wrestler or truly a fighter, but I thought that I'd at least have one match or one fight here today in the Toy Wrestling Gathering on Friday Night Smackdown. I don't like getting bows in my hair. So if someone out there thinks that they're going to beat me, well, guess again. And I also got my friend here who's also going to help back. I also got my sister with me. Me, Buttercup. And I'm also going to be backing up Mimi here today on Friday Night Smackdown. So anyone wants to fight me, well, let them come out if they think they're bold enough. Well, I know in the Toy Wrestling Gathering, dolls don't always have to be man-like or woman-like, Michael Cole said. They can be other beings too. So I don't want anyone out there, getting the wrong shit. I don't want, someone out there, getting the wrong thought, the wrong belief. Well, it seems that we have Mimi and Buttercup here today on Friday Night Smackdown, Michael Cole says. Well, we've had deadweights wrestle. We had other folks that weren't man-like or woman-like wrestle, Autolycus says. So I'm open-minded. Well, me too. But it seems to be, Wade Barrett says, well, it seems Autolycus says that Steven Richards isn't open-minded. No, I guess not, Wade Barrett said. And I guess he's against dogs. Alright, Steven Richards says. First off, it is not right for dogs to be wrestling or dogs to be fighting. You dogs are not wrestlers. You dogs are not fighters. So you should not be in a wrestling ring or a fighting ring. And I don't care, but that's what I think. Well, first off, Mimi says, we have every right to wrestle and every right to fight too, Not only the man-like, woman-like beings out there. Yeah, Buttercup says, we can wrestle, we can fight too. Look, I don't know, Steven Richards says, what anyone's told you. But dogs cannot wrestle. Dogs cannot fight. And so, Steven Richards says, the way I think of it, you cannot. Well, here's our little bind then, Astronomer says, because I seem to think that dogs can wrestle. Shit! Come on, stand up. That I think dogs can wrestle, or dogs can fight. So, guess what, Steven Richards? It seems you seem to think you're the cleaner again, and that was only an offshoot of yourself that you played from 20 to 2001 YL during your long run in WWF, WWE. And I know you did it in the TWF too. So here today, we're going to have Mimi take on Steven Richards here today on Friday Night Smackdown. And that is my oversight. We start the match now. We start the fight now. Well, we just heard from Astronema or Corones. Michael Cole says it seems that dogs can wrestle and dogs can fight in the toy wrestling gathering. And Buttercup is out of the ring over there now, Michael Cole says. Oh yeah, I guess anyone can wrestle, anyone can fight, Wade Barrett says. Not only the man-like or the woman-like beings out there. I mean, what the fuck? We had deadweights wrestle. We had deadweights fight. Yeah, Autolycus says. Wade Barrett goes. Yeah, you're right, Autolycus says. We did have deadweights fight. So why not dog-like beings, too? Well, it seems that Mimi has never really wrestled that much. I mean, she's only been alive for 2 years. She was bought from Petland or Strokeland about 2 years ago in 2021 YL, which this 12th next Monday or Alone Day will make the 2 years. Would have at least made 2 years since Mimi was bought from Petland or Strokeland. Well, don't forget, Autolycus says that Mimi is a Yorkshire Earth dog. And the smallest of the Earth dogs, there are big Earth dogs and small Earth dogs. Autolycus goes. Well, Wade Barrett said, yeah, don't forget Mimi was worth a lot more since they had to take a loaner out just to yield to buy Mimi from Strokeland, and that won't be yielded off until sometime next year, Wade Barrett says. Well, it's not like that's Mimi's mistake, Michael Cole says. It's not like Mimi asked for that loan or whatever to be taken out so she could be bought from Strokeland, Michael Cole says. Well, you know, Autolycus said at least Buttercup came from the mains followership in one of their things, and they got her in October of 2021 while, so it won't be until sometime at the end of the year that it will make 2 years for Buttercup, and she's only one. Well, Steven Richards is having enough, Michael Cole says, I guess, of fighting the dog. Steven Richards knocked down Mimi. Now what a creep. What a bully. What the hell to strike a dog for? Michael Cole says. Well, Autolycus says he is a bully and a heel and a creep. Well, if you get in the wrestling ring, things happen to you, even if you're man-like or woman-like or not. And Steven Richards ain't so good. Oh, Buttercup just been, Buttercup getting up, and and Buttercup getting up there. And Buttercup getting up there. And it knocked Steven Richards down. How's the Fight Lord letting this go? Mimi's down on Steven Richards, Michael Cole said. I don't know how the Fight Keeper let that go, Michael Cole said. Well, good for Buttercup standing up for Mimi, Autolycus said. Yeah, well, the match should have been thrown out, Wade Barrett said, or what Buttercup did. What that Sitsu, whatever the English word, did. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Hit. Up straight. Here is your winner, Mimi. And Mimi beat Steven Richards here today on Friday Night Smackdown. Buttercup hit him too. And only that Mimi doll, that Yorkshire Earth dog, got bought from Walmart 1 year. You know. Michael Cole says. So let me get this right. Wade Barrett said. Steven Richards, who wrestled in ECW, WCW, ECW, WWF, WWE, TNAW, IW. Now, sadly, he got beat by a dog, Wade Barrett says. By a dog. Well, Autolycus says, you know, anything can happen here in the toy wrestling gathering. Autolycus said, I know it used to be a saying, they used to say a long time ago in the World Wrestling Gathering, but once it became the World Wrestling Glee, they truly stopped saying that. Autolycus said, that's right, Michael Cole said, anything can happen in the toy wrestling gathering. You can wrestle a man-like or woman-like being, you can wrestle a dead weight-like being, or you can wrestle a dog-like being. And that was good for Mimi and her first match, or maybe her only match, here in the toy wrestling gathering, Michael Cole says. Well, Autolycus said, I wonder who's going to be talking with Mimi and Buttercup today. Well, I believe we got the answer to the asking thing. That is Gene Okerlund. Oh, great, Wade Barrett said. He gets to talk to two dogs. He gets to talk to Mimi and Buttercup. All right. Thank you, Michael Cole. I'm going to be talking with Mimi here today and Buttercup here today on Friday Night Smackdown. After Mimi won her first and only match in the toy wrestling gathering against Steven Richards. Mimi, we know that you're not truly a wrestler or a fighter. Well, that's right, Gene Okerlund. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a fighter. I never said I was a wrestler. I never said I was a fighter. And somehow, someway, I got put into my first match, or need be my only match and fight here in the toy wrestling gathering. Now, I came from Strokeland, and a lot of folks say that you should not buy, that you should foster and not buy. Now, we'll just say that yesteryear, that we all know I came from Strokeland, and we all know I came from a long line of, dogs, like, Peanut, and Tuxedo, and Susie, and Laddie, and Gucci, and Rosalie, and Scooby, and Bud, and Katie, and Katie, and Dutchie, and Jojo. I came from a long line of dogs, my four-kind brothers and sisters, which are no longer with us anymore. Some are dead, some are still alive. Anyway, I just want to say that I have felt great to have my first match here in the toy wrestling gathering. And at the end of the day, who says dogs cannot wrestle? Who says dogs cannot fight? Who said dogs cannot be wrestlers or fighters? Buttercup, you got something to say. Well, I knew my sister Mimi. I knew she would have had her only match, her only fight here. And you got in the match, didn't you? Because Steven Richards knocked her down. I know in the wrestling ring, wrestlers do things, fighters do things, but I didn't think it was right. So I stood up for Buttercup. I stood up for Mimi, the same way that Mimi would have stand up for me. The same way I guessed that Peanut or Tuxedo or Laddie or in the same way that Peanut or Tuxedo or Susie or Laddie or Gucci or Rosalie or Scooby or Bud or Katie or Jojo or Dutchie would have stood up for us. Now all of them are dead, sadly. Well, Dutchie's still alive. But all the other ones are dead. But they would have stood up for each other, just the way I would have stood up for Mimi. So, yeah, I had to stand up for Mimi. So go scave me if you want. Well, it's good to see you. It's good to see dogs can be wrestlers or dogs can be fighters. Well, I never said I was a wrestler. I never said I was a fighter either, Alright, that's my talk with Mimi and Buttercup. Back to you, Michael Cole. Well, thank you, Gene Okerlund, for talking with Mimi and Buttercup here today on Friday Night Smackdown. And it looks like it is all the time we got here, And it looks like all the time we got here. Oh, shit. Get the hair out of your eyes, Mimi. Alright. Looks like it is all the time we got here for Friday Night Smackdown. I am Michael Cole For Autolycus, the King of Thieves, and Wade Barrett, we hope you liked Friday Night Smackdown, and we'll see you tomorrow for Rampage or Ram Through.